I'm Al Starzyk, and welcome to my freelance N-scale New Haven model railroad layout. How did I get involved in this great hobby? Well, like many other people who are involved in model railroading, I got involved in railroading when I was very young. I got my first train set when I was 6 years old. I have very fond memories of a fresh cut Christmas tree along with the smell of smoke coming out of my American Flyer Hudson. And when we moved to Williamsburg, I got involved with the Ford's Colony Model Railroad Club and started to hang out with the N-scale group. And then before you know it, I was bitten and I started to collect N-scale, and now I'm on my journey of starting this new layout. I got this room to be able to have a layout in it. I looked at the room and I had some prerequisites of what I wanted in a layout. And thinking about the size of the room and the ability to work on a layout on a full-time basis, the first prerequisite was, number one, the layout was going to be freestanding. It's not bolted to the wall. Number two, we wanted to have easy access, so the width of the aisles here of the track platform is only 18 inches wide. And I made the center section here, the opening, a little wider to allow at least 2 and maybe even 3 people to be working on the layout and running trains once the layout is completed and all the track is down. The overall system is digital. It's a DCC and it's a Digitrax. And the track that I'm using is Kato track, and that is a code 80 N-scale track. The sections that you see here that have openings, you have to have an opening by the window, so that's a lift-out section. And then also to get into the middle cockpit area, there's another lift-out section. And what Kato has is that they have these expansion tracks, and these give you the ability to go ahead and increase and decrease the size of the track. And you use these to go ahead and make your connection along with the little connectors that they have here. And the connectivity is excellent. The power grab and the flow of electricity is really unbelievable. The track right now is a double main with a spur going in front of the window and leading into a 5.5-foot yard that has 5 tracks in the yard. Going forward, I will be adding some additional track, and I'm thinking about putting in a 3rd line in a single track. And there's a lot of scenery work that has to be done right now. We're in the early stage of construction, but everything's going pretty smoothly. What I'm going to wind up doing, this is going to be like a New Haven scene. You know, it's built up, okay, and it may be tiered. And the idea here is to break up the toy look of a curve, of a loop, is that from a perspective point of view, this will be broken up also, you know, and then there will be like a road coming across this way. That'll be broken up, and then on the yard side, at the back end, that's not going to end like that. I'm going to be putting a backdrop on there, and there's going to be a second level, and I'm going to have houses, you know, like a street scene, and then the yard will be going underneath, so it looks like it continues, you know, into infinity. All of those buildings there have been kit bashed, and those of you who don't know what kit bashing is basically when you take a kit that you would buy and you don't build it to 100% of the plans, you modify it with the intention of having many of the buildings lighted in the future, either internal lighting and then also some accent lighting on the outside. And so when you do that, you got to pre-plan all the buildings. The insides are all blackened. They're all sealed up so they won't get any leakage when there's a light that's placed inside of them. And I like to do weathering. And with N-scale, you have to be careful. You try to weather and not overdo it. because it's a smaller scale, and if it's too heavy, it just doesn't look right. Then I'm contemplating a station scene here on this peninsula, and I'm still sketching that out. In planning and in looking at what you're doing, I do get the specs from kits, and what I do is I do mock-ups, and I make up mock-ups, and I try to position them along with figuring out the road width that I'm going to use, whether it's a city scene or if it's a side street, which would be narrow or whatever. So all of this is laid out on paper before I go ahead and do anything as far as that is concerned. That power station there may wind up, I think, over here, and I'm going to go ahead and probably cut this down, and it'll be sitting a little lower, and I may wind up having to put a retaining wall here. So that's the N-scale world. I mean, I love it because it's given me the ability to go full speed ahead in the hobby using a small room and being able to use the space and have a lot of railroad. I want to thank everyone for coming in and taking a look at my layout, and I hope you can come to our next showing, whether it's going to be as an open house or as a virtual showing of our layouts.